The 11th pile of scrap you'll encounter in the Siege of Orgrimmar is Siegecrafter Blackfuse.
Blackfuse is a one-phase fight where he uses the same abilities most of the time.
The first ability the boss uses is Electrostatic Charge. This is used on the boss's target, and a tank switch will need to be performed at 3 stacks. Tanks should use a defensive cooldown when they are about to get hit by their 3rd stack because it hits like a fucking truck. The ability causes large amounts of damage and applies a debuff that increases damage taken by Electrostatic Charge by 100%. This buffs the target, increasing damage done to targets with reactive armor by 200%. Blackfuse will go into a protective frenzy whenever one of his adds die, giving him 100% increased attack speed for 10 seconds. There's really not much that can be done about this except going through intense healing. Every 10 seconds, the boss will use Launch Saw Blade. This creates a spinning saw void zone at a location of a random raider. Don't stand between the boss and the saw blade target. It hits quite hard. The saw blade will cause large amounts of damage and knock back anyone who walks into them. These saw blades are able to damage the automated shredders and should be used to do so. If you realize you're about to be targeted by the saw blade, move as close as you can towards the other saw blades to help conserve room. Blackfuse will also use Automatic Repair Beam, which will be used to heal any automated shredders or crawler landmines within 35 yards of the boss. Blackfuse will need to be tanked away from the adds throughout the entire fight. Energized Defense Matrix buffs Blackfuse. If your raid fails to kill at least one add on the Conveyor Belt, although this is unlikely to happen, if it does, the boss will gain a buff that reduces damage taken by 90% for 20 seconds. If this is the case, you fucked up. Throughout the fight, approximately every 2 minutes, the boss will summon an automated shredder. These adds have some abilities. Death from above, where the ad will leap into the air and deal huge damage when it lands. When it lands, the ad is stunned for 5 seconds and takes 200% increased damage. If you can time this so that the ad jumps up in the air and lands on a saw blade, it will drop the ad like a sack of shit. Death from above simply has to be dodged. Overload is a raid-wide ability that will deal large amounts of damage and cause the shredder to gain permanent stacks that increase damage done by 30%. Reactive armor is a buff that reduces damage taken by 80%. The Conveyor Belt plays a big part during the fight. Every 40 seconds, 3 adds will spawn on a northwestern Conveyor Belt. These adds will not be attacking, but once one add is killed, the others become immune and travel onto the northeastern belt.
Once there, the adds will be activated and begin doing damage.
2 DPS will need to be assigned to destroy the Conveyor Belt adds. Entering the Conveyor Belt will give players pattern recognition, which prevents them from re-entering the belt for 60 seconds. This is why the 2 DPS must alternate. The Conveyor Belt can be accessed by the pipes on the edge of the room. Once you reach the end of the Conveyor Belt, there is another set of pipes to hop off the belt. Note that the same weapons can spawn twice on the Conveyor Belt, so for example, 2 electromagnets can spawn, or like 2 crawler mines. When on the Conveyor Belt, the only thing to be mindful of is to dodge the purification beams. These beams will kill anyone who trips into their path. No tanks are needed on the Conveyor Belt, or healers. Only DPS need to be going on the Conveyor Belt. Because of the complexity of the encounter, the guide will actually have to be split into 2 parts to keep it under the 5-minute benchmark, so look out for part 2.